All right, everybody, welcome in to the DNVR Rapids Lounge. The can't call it a winners lounge, can't call it a losers lounge. The draw lounge, baby, live from the recesses of the DNVR offices. It's your boy Merchel, joined by Yahir G. Vazquez,
What's up?
and of course, the grill master himself, the Dev Machine.
Yo.
And me and Dad just got back on the party bus from C38 to the DNVR bar after the Rapids, of course, drew 1-1 with Real Salt Lake in the opening match of the Rocky Mountain Cup. I think there's a lot to take away from this game. I think everyone wants to probably talk about the ref or squandered chances, but I do think I want to start on a positive note here and say I want to ask you guys both. I mean, who would be your MVP of the game for the Rapids? Yeah, here, let's start with you.
Oh, you want me to take it? I was gonna let Dev.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's kind of on the spot. I have to go to Michael Barrios. I think he created the most out of that right side. He completely burnt. What was his name? I can't even remember his name. But that whole right side, he dominated the whole game. Michael Barrios even had the assist. I put some money on it at plus 250. That's an easy bet.
There you go.
Yeah, he was just the best player on the whole pitch, I think.
Dev, how about you?
I'm gonna give it to Willie Yar, bro, for sure.
Okay.
When he had the shots come at him, he was ready to go. He didn't stop that penalty kick, but it shouldn't have ever happened in the first place. So during the run of play, he was good.
I like both of those. A lot. I thought they both had great games. I'd probably say Keegan Rosenberry. I thought he had his best game of the season. He was all over the place, especially to set up that Barrios assist. He took the free kick from the left side of the box, got the clearance almost near midfield on the right side of the field, got it up to Barrios, who made the pass into Lala. And other than that, this was probably the most offensive I've seen him play this season. Generally, it's Lucas up the other side. Keegan kind of rotates down, sits on that back line. I mean, not necessarily sits on the back line, but sits back, kind of, helps Price kind of distribute from the back. And I thought he was making runs. He was up past the midfield into the attack. And I thought his pace was good. I thought his passes were clean. And honestly, I think there was a few plays that he would want back to make, but overall, I thought he had a really strong game.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Keegan was dope as well, but I always like Keegan's game. It's rare when I'm like, oh, Keegan's even better. So
right,
reliable.
But let's talk about it. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about him. We all know his name by now. He's on that level now. He's a ref with a name that you know.
Ted fucking Unkel.
Ted. I turned to Marissa and Ryan Green here with me from DNVR. Shout out to them. I turned to them in the press box and said, does Ted Unkel have an ex-wife in Denver or something that he just hates? Like what is it? What could it be that he just has it out for these Rapids here? He's 3 red cards in the previous 2 games on Rapids players against Salt Lake. And then tonight, a penalty that could not have been farther from an actual penalty.
So, okay. When I first saw it, I was really pissed. You can go through my Twitter feed and just see how pissed I was. I was mad talking Ted Unkel, but if you look back at it, it technically is a penalty. Like, if you go by technicality, he did hit him, he did fall.
Sure.
But that's such a soft penalty that when you call that and you check VAR, it has to be like, you have to keep it a penalty at that point. Because that's the thing. Like, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but when you see somebody whip their head back and just look like a full-on dolphin, nobody ever really falls like that when you get fouled. I've never seen anybody legitly just flop like a dolphin and be like, oh yeah, that dude's it was a real foul. Usually it's they tumble, they try to hold themselves from hitting the floor hard because they don't know that they're falling. And that point, you don't call that penalty.
Dev, you were right there in the C38 supporter section. What did you see? I mean, did you have a decent look? I mean, what did you see on that penalty call?
I feel like it did. I mean, there's always a little bit of bias coming from being a Rapids fan and just in general, but I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything that warranted that particular call. I feel like Ted Unkel is quick to blow the whistle in these matchups, and his record shows so. It's just time and time again that this man comes into these particular matchups with these particular teams and decides to put his stamp on it. And he's gone both ways. Like, he's called it for us and for them. And I don't understand why he feels the need to make it all about him.
And the thing is also, like, everybody was like, oh, I saw Mitch tweeting this out a lot, like, oh, it's getting really CONCACAF-y. So Real Salt Lake is being really good at wasting time. But it wasn't just Real Salt Lake. Like, Ted Unkel was really, really good at wasting time. He was calling some fouls that in no other game situation are they fouls. Like, and he was giving out them yellows like it was like Easter or like Halloween, and he was just like, here you go, you have one. He was Oprah in this game. He's like, you can have one, you can have one. And it was just like really, really bad. Like that, I think those fouls pissed me off a lot more because they gave Real Salt Lake what they wanted. It gave them that like slow churn out speed that they were trying to like accomplish. And Ted Unkel was like the first guy to be like, oh, let's let him have that game. And that's when the Rapids like were really struggling. They were missing their passes. They got out of rhythm because they wanted to play fast and quick.
Can you pull up that Joseph comment again real quick, Yahya? Shout out Joseph. Saw him at the C38 tailgate earlier. Look, I mean, he nailed it. Yes, the fouls were bad. The penalty was questionable. Granted, I didn't have the benefit of watching on TV or replay or anything like that. Just from up in the press box, it looked kind of soft. But I think his point here, which is there was I would say the Rapids had more opportunities than I could put a number on, but not many actual quality attempts to finish those. Is that fair, Dev?
Kind of, but I just feel like I've seen this so many times where the Rapids had their opportunities, and if you really sit down and you take a really unbiased technical look at what's happening, you can say, oh yeah, the Rapids didn't take advantage of this chance or this chance or this chance. Mm-hmm. But we just never have that ref on our side, and not once, not a single time. It feels like we've got an extra player against us every single time. And
I think that's fair.
I'm tired of pretending to be this unbiased third party here and give some sort of an opinion of like, oh yeah, I was watching the game and I'm really trying to be objective here. I can't be anymore.
That's okay.
Ted Unkel sucks.
You are a C38 OG. You were in the middle of the. I gotta say, so I've been at every home match so far. C38 showed up tonight. It was lit. It was loud. They were packed in there. And the stadium, I got to say, was probably 85% full, which was nice to see. But yeah, we're not looking for objectivity from you here, Deb. We brought you on for a reason, and it's because you hate Ted Unkel, and you're going to call like to see it. I do think, and I know you said you can, it's you can sit here and point to chances all day, right? But I do think there is a player on the Rapids who has been very good at converting chances this season, better than people probably want to give him credit for, who today let a couple chances slip, and that's Diego Rubio. I think the biggest chance, at least what it looked like from me on that, was that Jack Price free kick late that found Rubio's head on the back post and he sent it wide. From where I was standing, it looked like the best opportunity they had, but again, that was on the far goal. That was on the south goal. I was up on the north end of the stadium in the press box, so I didn't, that wasn't a great look. But I think time and time again, he was in the action in the box and just couldn't finish. Is that fair, Yahir?
Yeah, in the first 15 minutes, he had 3 chances. That he just completely missed. Given that one of them might have been a penalty that they did not want to check or like even go to VAR for. And then on the other side, they quickly check it. You go through my Twitter feed, like the first 3 tweets is like Rubio had it, and then the second tweet is like Rubio almost had it, the sequel, and then the third one's like Rubio had it, the trilogy. And I could have gone the whole game. I could have literally been a Fast and Furious, like at that point, it could have been the whole like catalog of the Fast and Furious, and I could have just kept going and going because I think he missed 5 throughout the game. That I'm like, if you just have a little, if your foot's just like 40 degrees to the right, that's a game.
Yep.
That like that's a game. Like that's a goal. Like that's when you like score. But I don't know, man. I think Rubio did great at also creating. This is where we kind of see his false nine. Like when he plays the false nine, he's amazing. But that's the issue. He's a false nine. We need somebody with that killer instinct.
Who's a real 9.
Yeah, that Rubio can set up to be like the goal scorer.
Yeah.
Because I do love Rubio. I think he's such a useful player. That's the sort of player you need on the team. But I also didn't like that he spent a lot of the time on the floor looking for the call instead of looking for the play. And like,
you're right.
I thought if he like just finished some of those plays, there would have been another chance. He could have had a better shot.
I think the part of that is the tone set by Unkel, right? Where he's blowing a lot of whistles on marginal contact. And so Rubio is going to play to that. I think that's why he spent a lot of the time really emphasizing contact, staying on the ground, because Unkel was very liberal with the whistle tonight, right? So if you're going to earn a free kick near the box, maybe draw a penalty. I can't blame him too much for that. I do want to talk about the player to his left, Jonathan Lewis, who I thought had one of his stronger games this season, was just abusing that side of the defense in the first half. Tons of runs, good touches, really created some opportunities. Subbed off late for Andre, which, I think is fair if you're trying to get another goal, but I think Lewis was pretty good. Dev, did you like what you saw from Lewis tonight?
Lewis looked better than usual, for sure. I think that was pretty obvious. He was involved. He was making better decisions than usual. I'm not gonna like give him like start of the game NHL style, sure, but he definitely did look better. I think the midfield actually looked the best. If I was gonna give anybody like player of the game right now, Price and Mac looked fantastic.
Yeah, let's talk about them. Let's bring them up. I just wanted to shout Lewis out because I thought in terms of games this was probably his best. But Mac,
Lewis.
Go ahead.
I know I'm coming off as the biggest Lewis hater. I love
J-Lo. You are a Lewis hater, dude.
I love J-Lo. I really do. Dude, I really do love him. He was great in the first 10 minutes. He disappeared for the rest of the game and then showed up in the last 10 minutes. You can't have that from your wings.
I did think it was weird from about the 20th minute to around the 50th minute. There was just not much going on. The game kind of just stopped. It was
and here to Logan's comment, give Max a chance. Give him a chance. Like if you don't like what you see, put him back on the bench. Today, sure. Like after when Lewis, like at the 50-minute mark, if you saw Lewis was like you couldn't find him anymore. That side had no more attacking. Mm-hmm. Give Max a chance. See what he can do. See what like if there's a Brazilian connection between him and Lucas, who can maybe like run back and forth like on that left side. I really, really want to see that. And I thought they missed an opportunity because even though Real Salt Lake also has like altitude. Well, they do have attitude. Attitude
and altitude.
F that guy, Paulo Reese, by the way. Hate him. Going up to C38 and then just spreading his. I hated that. But either way, like they do have a lot of altitude too, but they were getting tired. Take advantage of that. Like you could have taken advantage of that at the 50-minute mark. Give some more speedsters that might actually do something with the ball.
Fraser took too long with his subs. He really did, and this is a trend. I love Fraser. He does a really good job. I'm really glad we signed him for extension, but he takes too long to make that decision to pull somebody. And the fact that we ever let Jonathan Lewis play that much of a game when he has been a super sub his entire career, it's ridiculous.
I mean, was there only the one sub with Lewis for Shinichiki?
Yeah.
I don't get it. You have 4 more subs you could have used.
Like 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think we hammered home the Lewis point there. I think that you did hit the point earlier there though. Price and Mac, man, they were unreal. Mac probably had his best game with the ball at his feet, I would say, that I've seen in a while. Sure. Tons of good moves. Just great touches left and right. Really able to not necessarily having to just send clearances out of the box area and being able to kind of dribble out and build an attack that way instead of trying to recover after sending it down the field. And then Price, I mean, what else can you say? His free kicks, his corners, they're clinical. He's surgical.
And on Mac, man, when Mac wants to, he can take on the whole team. If he really, really wants to, you saw it on that right side, like right near the out of bounds. Like he took on 3 Real Salt Lake players, and he still took it on that corner. Move. Like that's bad. Like that he was bad. Like that. Like not bad as like he was not good.
No. I know what you mean.
Oh my goodness.
Who had the better move though? Was it that Mac move, or was it Keegan on the other side in the first half when he deked out 2 of their defenders and then had that run towards the goal that ended in a pretty good chance on a shot that he took from right outside the box? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. Both of those times I was screaming in my couch, just like, "You get him! You don't let him get you!" So I'll tell you, like, those were the highlights. I was like super hyped, and in my head, I was just screaming, "Ole, ole!" Like,
man,
he took him. Those 2.
I think the biggest takeaway from this game is a lot of guys are in form, but just missed chances. Missed chances. Mac, Keegan, Price, they were setting them up. Barrios too. I think Barrios was pretty good sending it in. But between Lewis, Rubio, there just wasn't the finishing. And I mean, I feel like we say this every pod, but yeah, it's time to start Max. Am I right?
I think so. Yeah. We look at the starting lineup every single game. We see it. We're standing at the grill. We're talking to everybody. Hey, what do we got going on here? Oh, look, it's Lewis again.
Yeah.
Why? Not particularly sure why. Because all of his success has come from coming in late and making some sort of a wonder goal at the end of the game when he's the freshest one on the field. It doesn't make any sense to me at this point in time when we have the players that we have. Put Max in. Bring Lewis in at the end. Do what people are good at. I said it in this previous pods. Aces in their places. What are we doing? Put people where they belong.
Look, here. Correct me if this isn't the right comparison. But Lewis, to me, feels a lot like a Will Barton type, where on his good nights, he's great. And on his bad nights, the coach trusts him too much to take him out.
Yeah, I think if you're comparing it to basketball, I think that's a very fair comparison. That if he wants to show up, he'll show up. And I don't think it's if he wants to. I think he really I think Lewis is one of those players. Sorry, guys. I think Lewis is one of those players that plays really hard. I really do think, kind of compared to Will Barton, I think it's a player that he wants to help the team. But I think he just runs out of talent. Honestly, I really do think he just runs out of talent. And it's a saying that you hear all over sports. And he just kind of needs to be placed back as a super sub because his talent only runs for 20 minutes. He's a 20, if you want the full effect, again, I told you, first 15, last 10 is when we saw Lewis. Equates 25 minutes. That's how much good football that you can see him. That's how much you'll get out of him.
Okay, well let's kind of think big picture here in terms of Rocky Mountain Cup, right? It is now it's 1-1, no points either direction. Well, 1 point either direction, but no separation, and it goes to Rio Tinto in July, which is the House of Horrors. I was walking out of the stadium with RG and we were thinking man, maybe this now sets them up for the miracle win that they've been missing in Salt Lake. Dev, do you see a world where they rally now and get that, jump that hurdle, clear that last boss level that they can't beat, and get get 3 points in Rio Tinto in July.
Only if Fraser comes into the game and changes his approach completely. You cannot play this like a regular game. I've seen it. I've seen it where we've played it like a regular game. We've made a slight tweak here or there. He has to completely change it. It's got to be a max start. It's got to be completely flip it on its head and try to go balls to the wall, win this game. Maybe. But if you go in there and treat this like any other game, or like it's not really that big of a deal, the Rocky Mountain Cup's no big deal compared to where we finish in MLS, no. We'll end up in the exact same spot that we always are, where it feels like they've put too much pressure on themselves, and we come out of there losing by a couple of goals against a team that's clearly not as talented as us.
And I don't think, especially they came in hurt. You had to take advantage. And the thing I saw with this team today as well, Real Salt Lake came in injured, but I think the Rapids came in very rusty from that 2-week break. I feel like it took them a bit to get into the rhythm. That first half, like they just weren't communicating as well. I saw some of these passes, like Austin Trusty had like 4 of them, where he was passing it to where he thought the guy was instead of looking up and seeing where the guy actually was. And instead of being a Rapid, it was a Real Salt Lake D-bag standing there.
Or nothing.
Or nothing. Yeah.
There was a couple passes that went to nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I'm like, that's kind of like, I also saw that, and Devin's right. Like, they need to take it seriously. If this is where they're gonna show B38 and everybody supporting them, how seriously they take the Rocky Mountain Cup. All they can go in and tie with a 2-2 tie, and they'll take the Rocky Mountain Cup. You just got to score 2. You really got to score 2, and just trust your defense, which one of the best in MLS, and you're going to be fine in that game.
I mean, definitely up right at the top. That's like, there's no reason they can't go get it, right? Unless we look at that little pre-match sheet that we get from Rapids Communications, and at the top it says Ted Unkel referee. Then we're fucked.
We do have this question from Racist Fan Rocks 4. Where do you guys see the USA team would do in the World Cup? I have them making the Sweet 16.
So basically, you're saying they make the knockout round and they're out?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, this is going to be a cop-out, but they have goal-scoring talent. I think their goalkeeping is pretty strong. Depending on if they finish first in the group, if they can somehow, 7 points in the group, draw with England, win the other 2, and maybe win the group, I could see them advancing a round or 2. I really could. Pulisic could get hot. Reyna could get hot. They have athletes as much as any other team there. I think here's the other thing, though, is they're so young. They're so young. And would I be shocked if they beat England and then lose to Ukraine? No, literally not at all. Like, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I think the one thing you need to take away from this World Cup as a U.S. fan and the U.S. team is experience. And be ready for 2026 at home and see it, right? Feel the intensity, feel the atmosphere, see what it takes to actually get through. And if another team beats you, know that that's what you have to bring in 4 years at home. You have to match that intensity. You have to learn by doing, and it might be learned by losing, and that's okay, right? You made it. You qualified with a young squad with talent, and probably get out of the group, but just hope they get out of the group and have some fun with it, right? Dev, what do you think?
I think they make it out of the group because I think they have sneaky talent compared to what teams like England and Iran are going to think that we have. I can see us drawing England, potentially even drawing Iran. I think we beat whoever comes out of that playoff, though. Even if it's Wales, I think we have the talent to do that. Yeah, I would agree with actually racist fan Roxy over here. Like I do think that it's hard to say that fast actually. I think
like
that
racist fan Roxy. What?
yeah, no, I think we do get out of the group, but I think that's probably as far as we go because of who we have at the other end waiting for us. I don't think that this team, even with all the European players that we have, is ready to beat Holland. But I do think we have what it takes to get out of this group.
Yeah, here you kind of had a nice thread the other day, or during draw day yesterday, not the other day, yesterday, and you kind of just quickly kind of threw out a winner and a runner-up in every group. So give us what you think the U.S. is going to do, and then also give us where you think Mexico's at headed into that.
Okay, guys. So this is gonna be shocking to you guys. I really do think because I come off as a U.S. hater, but I really do like this iteration of the U.S. squad.
Hate America,
dude. The more I thought about it yesterday, and I kind of saw the brackets and I saw everything that was coming out. I think this is the we believe U.S. I really do.
You think so?
I think they win the group. I think they beat England 2-1. I think they tie with the Ukraine and they beat Iran. And they take first place in that group. I think they reached the semifinals. Actually, I really think just something about this team. I saw Gio Rain. I was looking back at their games, not highlights, seeing what was going on, and just because international soccer is one of my favorite things to look at, not just US and Mexico, like in general. I love it, and just looking at England where they struggled against Italy, which was the fast passes. And the long balls, it's something the U.S. is really good at. And the U.S. has a very, very strong midfield with Musa and with Gio Reyna. So I really do believe the U.S. can reach the semifinals. There's going to be a couple things that have to break their way. But I think Greg Berhalter has reached that level that he needs to reach. I think he found the secret sauce with his team. And I
never would have thought that ever.
I think there's a belief within that same squad that missed the World Cup last going, and I think there's a real good chance that they reach the semi. As for Mexico, I think they're runner up in that group next to Argentina. I think they lose to Argentina. I think they win the other two, and I think they advance. Until they don't actually until they don't advance one of these World Cups, I'll stop penciling them into the round of 16. As for that fifth game that has eluded Mexico for so long, I don't feel this is the year. I think they're not going to do it again. But part of me thinks that there's so much pressure on Tata that he might just start throwing things at the wall and hoping something sticks. And he might be able to get to that fifth game and then they're out. Because all Mexico cares about is the fifth game. They don't care honestly, they don't even care about winning it, man. I'm being honest. I don't care about winning it at this point. I think there's with taking out my fandom, I usually give Mexico a 20% chance to reach the fifth game. I think looking at it from this year on and with all the pressure added and a lot of young talent coming in that they know that pressure, I'll give them a 60% chance for them to reach the fifth game this year.
What if that game is against France? What if that game is against France?
That game against France, that drops to 40. But Mexico,
40,
has.
Please.
Oh no! This is the thing that you don't understand. Mexico has a knack of playing up to its competition.
That's true.
Playing down to its competition.
Yeah, and it's soccer, man.
So
you could be losing, you'd be getting your ass kicked, and then all of a sudden you draw a penalty right before halftime, and you're up 1-0.
So that's my biggest thing. Like I only drop it 20% because they do have a knack for playing up to the competition. They beat France. They beat Germany when they were coming off the top. They've done this before. They were this close to beating the Netherlands. They have a knack for that. I would be more afraid if they have to face Iran in the next round than if they have to face France, if I'm honest with you.
That's fair. Well, you heard it here, folks. Yahir says that the U.S. is going to have its best run ever at the World Cup. So get hyped. Guys, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, Dev, of course. Love having you as always. Thanks for being great hosts for C38 for me and Ryan and Marissa earlier. Be on the lookout for a Ryan Green vlog. It's going to be rad. We brought the drone out over top of the tailgate. We got tons of footage. The party bus was awesome. Other than that, make sure you sign up at thedmvr.com, become a member, like and subscribe on YouTube, buy some merch from Merchel, me. Make sure you do that. Follow Devin at the Dev Machine. Follow Yahir at Yahir G. Vazquez. Follow me at _ Mitchell James. And other than that, guys, up the PIDs, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Peace out, guys.